Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. I felt the need to do this video here today, off of the back of a Bible study meeting that I attended last night. So the course of this Bible study for the next 6 weeks, well, I say 6 weeks, we're now on week 2, has all been about spiritual mathematics, and we've covered various different subjects around the additions that are in the Bible. But within this section here, we were talking about the subtractions, and Pastor was going through the various different elements of subtracting and minusing that is reflected throughout the text. Now, there was one particular segment that really resonated with me, and it's the crux of my video here today, and that's all about the subject of humility. It's all about the subject of humility, being humble. And the reason why it struck such a chord with me is because this subject has been the battle of my life. It's been the battle of my life, and I've only really just begun to get to terms with it, get my handle on the reins on it in the last few years. And it's something that's caused me a lot of distress, discomfort, and caused me to be unsure about myself throughout my years. So I wanted to do a video on this one here today, just to open this subject out a little piece for anyone that may be experiencing or going through something similar or the same. So first things first, to deal with what the actual definition of modesty is. And I'm going to read it out. It says, the quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. And the first word I want to highlight on for this is the word quality. It's a quality, it's not a loss. It's something to be proud of. Your ability of having a modest or low view of your importance. And that's the other subject section you've got to realize on it. And that's the bit where I really fell apart with the whole thing, because it's not a modest or low view of yourself. It's not a modest or low view of your abilities, your qualities, your skills. It's a modest or low view of your level of importance, as in how much you need to shout and brag about yourself. Now, when we take a look at the word bragging, I and the majority of the world, I would imagine, have taken that whole context one step too far. We take a look at it and go, right, well, you know, we're to brag about our skills, and to brag about the bits that we're good at, to brag about the bits that we're proud of, is literally to speak of them. You know, when we speak of them, we're bragging. When we tell people that we are a good father, we tell people we're a good driver, we tell people we're a good mother, we tell people that we're an exceptional girlfriend, an exceptional secretary, the world's best boss. When we talk about all these things, the minute you say, I am good at something, the minute you say, recognize me for being good at something, we automatically default to feeling that falls into the wonderful bag of bragging. Now, the wonderful bag of bragging is universally understood as being bad, as being wrong. To sit there and to brag about being brilliant at something is the wrong thing to do. It shows a shallowness of your character. It shows you're wanting to stamp on other people in order to make yourself heard. And that's where we break the rule, the definition of humility. When you take a look at it, the quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. It's not. When we're talking about it, it's not the fact that you're good at something that puts you in the bucket of bragging. No, it's not the fact that you're good at something that puts you in the context of bragging. It's the fact that you felt the need to shout about it so loudly that you probably offended some other people along the way. It's not the fact that you were good at what it is. It's the fact of how loud you needed to shout it. You know? But going back to the reason as to why the whole subject of modesty really struck home with me yesterday is because for years I found it hard to actually say I'm good at anything. To say that I'm a good personal trainer was hard. To say that I'm a good dad was been hard. To say that I'm a good speaker has been really hard for me. Really hard for me. And even though I express all of the qualities of being someone that's good at something, I've always found it difficult to articulate that out loud. And it's only through delving into myself and researching into my past that I started to realize actually where that came from, and it came from, it came from actually an actual simple choice, because a friend of mine wanted to do something. I also wanted to do it. I thought that actually I had a much larger skill set in that particular area, but because I wanted to be a good friend, I downplayed, and it was a decision. I downplayed what I was capable of in order to make him more favorable for the position. And it became a thing. And as certain things that happened in my life, like my dad dying and various other people dying and so on, it became what I did. What I did was I submerged and I pushed what I was good at to the back so that I could help others move forward. But in my efforts of doing so, I pushed those talents, I pushed those gifts so far deep down into the belly of me that I couldn't see him anymore. And if I couldn't see him anymore, I couldn't bring them out. I couldn't bring them out to show anyone. And if I can't bring them out to show anyone, how can I ever be recognized for having them? Think about it like this. Think of how many people there must be out there in the world that the only person that knows that they are a world-class singer is their bathroom mirror. Think about how many people out there that are in the world that are actually absolutely brilliant at something, but their lack of self-belief stops them from actually bringing that forward. And then think about how much of the world is missing because that person doesn't feel confident enough to say what they're good at, to be able to say to the world, this is what I do. And when you say it out loud, sometimes it seems ridiculous. I mean, if I put this in context to my own weight training, I won't say bodybuilding, we'll say weight training. The amount of times that I have gone out onto the gym floor and felt insecure because there are others out there that also lift with me. And it's taken me a while to actually warm up to the point where I felt comfortable in that environment, when an environment that has always been a part of my life. An environment that's always been part of my life. I felt insecure about being there because I had pushed my skills, I pushed my talent so far down that I no longer believed that I was actually capable. So there's the bit to get over. There's the challenge. Now, this is how I did it. Is what I did was I took a look at it and I switched the definition and I wrote it down, so I'll read it out to you. Now, my new definition of humility, in other words, being humble, is that humility is not the denial of talent or ability. Humility is the recognition of one's ability, but not at the expense of someone else's humanity. I'm going to say that again. My definition, and the definition I ask you to walk forward with, is that humility is not the denial of talent or ability. Humility is the recognition of one's ability, but not at the expense of someone else's humanity. It's okay to say that you're good at things. It's okay to say that you're exceptional at things. It's okay to recognize that you're brilliant at things. It's okay to be able to say out loud and articulate that this is the thing that I am passionate about. This is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm great at. This is what fills me with joy. When I take part in this, when I ride my bike, when I look after my children, when I provide for my wife, when I'm there for my husband, whatever that is. This is what I'm proud of. This is what makes me tick. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to be okay. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that, you know what, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. This is what I do. And it's okay to be recognized for what you're good at. It's okay to be recognized for what you're good at above other people that are around you. As long as in your recognition of being good at something, you're not stamping all over someone else's hopes and fears. The last thing I want to leave you with is one of my favorite poems. I call it a poem. Some people call it speeches. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to read this out because I think it sums up what I'm trying to get across here quite nicely. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated in our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You don't know who's watching you. And as you take that brave step to step forward and go, you know what? This is me. You have no idea who else you're giving the opportunity to or permission to proclaim the same. Don't hide your brilliance. Let it shine.